Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mark Finlay, and on behalf of Middle West Tennessee Clean Fuels Coalition, I'd like to say thank you for joining us for this webinar, which seeks to highlight the various opportunities for alternative fuel adoption in the medium and heavy duty trucking space. Transportation is the largest sector, both by energy consumption and emissions in the state of Tennessee. And more, we are witnessing pioneering efforts to transition away from traditional gasoline and diesel consumption to solutions that reduce emissions, improve community health, and promote environmental and sustainability goals, all while saving on fuel and operational costs in the process. Whether it be compressed in renewable natural gas, propane, electricity, or biofuels such as biodiesel. There exists a more sustainable solution for every fleet in Tennessee and throughout the country. We have a great lineup set for all of you today, full of alternative fuel advocates and industry experts who will highlight the benefits of and the opportunities for ditching diesel and transitioning fleets to be more sustainable and first, just a couple of housekeeping items I'd like to go over before we get started. Number one, this webinar is being recorded and will be uploaded to FuelsFlix, which is an alternative fuels video library hosted and operated by Tennessee Clean Fuels. Secondly, everyone on the line except the panelists are currently muted and will remain muted throughout the event. And following the presentations, there will be a Q&A session at the end. And we encourage all of you to utilize the chat to present questions to each of the presenters. And while you may submit questions throughout the event, please note that these questions will be addressed once all presentations have been completed. And with that, I'd like to introduce our first speaker today, Mr. Mike Gentile from Cummins, an industry leader in low emissions natural gas engines. So thank you, Mike. I've made you the presenter, and please feel free to take it away.
Okay. Why isn't that going away? All right. My name is Mike Gentile. I'm with Cummins. I'm going to talk about the natural gas product that we have and some new products that are coming out. This is for natural gas in the heavy duty markets. And I'd like to start with why Cummins. The three main reasons moving over to natural gas: the fuel versus diesel. Our natural gas engines run 90% cleaner than the current EPA emission standard, 0.2, we run 0.02. The economics of it is the elimination of the after treatment system, no regen and no DEF fluid, and more renewable natural gas is becoming available every day. Another good info for the natural gas on the renewables is that you can be carbon negative on some renewable natural gas versus diesel, biodiesel, and even electricity. This is a full sheet of showing what the carbon intensity of all different fuels in the market right now, and you can see renewable natural gas is the lowest and makes you carbon negative. And our product lineup, we have our B67N, which is a near zero engine, 0.02. All of our engines are certified at 0.02 NOx. Our B67 is up to 33,000 pounds. And you can see some of the applications there, vans, school buses, box trucks, yard spotters. We also have our 9-liter, which gives us up to 66,000 pounds It's a 320 horsepower engine up to 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. A lot of transit, cement mixers, trash applications, side loaders, front loaders, used a 9-liter. We then have our 12-liter, which is up to 80,000 pounds. It gives you up to 400 horsepower, 1,450 foot-pounds of torque. And this is used in a lot of bulk deliveries, a lot of line haul applications, a lot of roll-off and trash, a lot of dairy, bulk dairy applications. And then we have our new one coming out in 2024, will be our 15-liter natural gas. This is a brand new Cummins engine. It's going to be the first big bore natural gas engine in the United States. It's going to be available in the first quarter of 2024. This engine is the first engine built from the ground up specifically for natural gas. Our other 3 engines were diesel engines that were modified to run natural gas. So this is the first engine that we're making that's specifically for natural gas. It'll meet the CARB changes in 2024, 2027, and it looks like at least up till December 31st of 2030. As it compares to our 12-liter, it's going to be 100 pounds less. It's going to fit in the same envelope that the 12-liter fits in. It's going to have about 10% better fuel economy than our current ISX 12N. And this is going to be a diesel matching engine, 500 horsepower, 1,850 foot-pounds of torque. And you can see here's the torque curve and the power curves. The natural gas runs right on top of an X15 15-liter diesel engine. So to sum it up, the 15-liter is the first big bore in North America. Going to be available in 2024 first quarter. It's got a Cummins fuel injection system, and it'll be a 0.02 application. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Mike. And so next, we're going to turn things over to Mr. Jess Manning with Clean Energy Fuels, and he is going to talk to us about some options for renewable natural gas or RNG. And I made you the presenter, Jess, so feel free to take it away.
All right, let's see. Can you see my screen there, Mark?
Yes, sir, we can.
All right, well, first, thanks for having us here today. I'm excited to talk to everyone on the call a little bit about how we can help your fleet organization utilize renewable natural gas in today's markets, and we'll kind of jump into things here. So yeah, what we're looking to talk about today, you know, my name's Jess Manning. I'm with Clean Energy Fuels. I handle the central US and help fleets and organizations like yourselves become involved with integrating renewable natural gas today through our nationwide network of stations. So we're going to do a little company overview, some details about renewable natural gas, some advances within the industry, and then at the end of the presentations, we'll have some time for Q&A. So Clean Energy owns and operates and maintains around 560 plus stations throughout North America. That includes public and some private. We've seen some blue chip players really invest in natural gas, which is now turned into primarily renewable natural gas over the years since natural gas hit the transportation market. We're a leading player throughout the US and RNG distribution. We're starting to see some major investments and partnerships generated through major oil players who are really getting behind renewable natural gas. We are an environmental credit leader, and we've certainly seen RNG volumes go up over the course of the last 5 years. As mentioned, we help fleets achieve zero carbon fueling requirements. It's something that's ever evolving today, and you know, there's certainly challenges out there from economical to sustainability requirements, and you know, how do we get there? So we're here to do that with the power of RNG. We're currently making investments in upstream production facilities across North America, and then dispensing them through our public and private nationwide network. The primary fuel cells that we're looking to do today is based on RNG. While CNG and LNG still is at play, we're certainly looking to grow in the renewable natural gas market. So what is RNG? For anyone out there that's not quite familiar with it, RNG can be made through several ways. The primary way, the one that's going to receive this major carbon score of negative 500%, is going to be powered through dairy waste. They're basically taking the methane from these dairies, capturing it, and pumping it back into the pipeline. We also see it also can be produced through landfills and wastewater treatment plants. So certainly a variety of ways to get there. One key factor to note: it is not a fossil fuel. This is something that we're taking the emissions that would normally be going into the air and putting it back down to the pipeline and powering your trucks through this product. It's very accessible today through our 560 nationwide networks. It's an affordable way to meet your sustainability requirements, and it's reliable. We've seen major companies like Amazon, UPS, and Estes dive headfirst in and are getting results that they're looking to see. As Mike alluded to, this is provided through CARB. This is a great snapshot that shows the carbon intensity of RNG. CARB is measuring this through a well-to-well analysis of how each fuel is being produced. So that is the primary reason why you see RNG dairy at a negative 500 level. It's again, it goes back to the fact that the methane would normally be evaporating into the air and going up into the ozone. With the RNG production, they're able to capture the methane and put it right back into the pipeline. So that is not happening. That is why it's so low. I love this slide. It's a great way to really visualize the power of RNG and what you can do with it. We see RNG as a catalyst for any sort of alternative in the future. As we continue to explore what's out there, we do believe that our network is set up to be involved with either hydrogen or potentially electric down the road, powered through RNG. As mentioned, our infrastructure is ready for the potential involvement of hydrogen as we continue to watch the markets and see what's out there and see what the demand is and the technology growth. You know, it's something to keep an eye on through our current infrastructure. This slide today, it's a little backdated, but this line here with diesel would be on upwards into the green here. As you can see, it's certainly a good way to look at the cost comparison from natural gas to diesel throughout the years. As you'll see, diesel tends to spike up and down. The predictability of it it's tough to gauge. You know, no one has a crystal ball, right? But we can look back at history and see that that natural gas has stayed consistent, and history is usually our best way to look through a crystal ball. So something to keep in mind of whenever you're looking for an affordable option out there when exploring alternatives. Since we're talking in Tennessee today, I want to provide a snapshot of our infrastructure. As mentioned, it is nationwide and it extends into Canada, but here's the Southeast. As you can see, we have 3 stations throughout Tennessee. We would love to work with you on some of these stations. We also are experts at building and maintaining a private station if that's something that you see fit for your operation as well. When we talk about some of the technology changes, natural gas has certainly grown over the years. A lot of people have dived in the past, and today a lot of things have changed. Some things that stand out to me here is certainly the engine reliability. Today we're seeing proven uptime compared to where we were in 2014. The maintenance on these are getting better. There's more providers out there as time has moved on. The warranty portion of it, instead of a 2-year, there's now a 5-year. The nationwide network of fueling has grown. It's not just metro areas. It's all over the place. So your trucks can get across the country if needed, or locally, or whatever lanes you're running. The operating range on these tank packages have grown from 400 to 700 plus miles. If you're not running 700 plus miles and that's not something you can still cater the fuel tank system down to only cover what you need. So that's something to look at when you're speccing out equipment to cut costs that way. But if you're running over 700 plus miles in a day or two, then you certainly have that option to put the bigger tank packages on there. The oil changes have gotten better, which helps with the maintenance costs. There's also a federal gross vehicle weight allowance that's pretty much nationwide these days. Since the tank package does add on 2,000 pounds, you are able to get a 2,000 pound allowance through the transportation boards. One thing to note too, if you are hauling a product that is pushing that 80,000 pounds, when you fuel up your tank, you may not exceed or get close to the 2,000 pounds that is added on. Sometimes we'll see customers only fuel up that adds an extra 1,000 pounds. Therefore, you may be able to throw in an extra 1,000 pounds of product onto your load, which if you're running on a payload basis, that's certainly an added advantage as well. As you can see here, major OEMs have developed options over the years. Most of these have been players since day one, but they're all invested. They're all producing natural gas trucks. Cummins is the main engine provider, and as Mike mentioned, the 15-liter is hitting the US in 24. We're seeing a lot of buzz about that throughout the country, and something that we're certainly excited about. Peterbilt has also adopted, along with Kenworth, 6.7 in a medium duty truck. So those are something to look at if you're operating those trucks. And once we wrap up here, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Appreciate your time today.
Great, thank you, Jess. The next presenter will be Mr. Happy Fox from Alliance Autogas, who will give some insight into propane fueling. So I will go ahead and give you presenter status, Happy, and you can take it away whenever you're all ready to go.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everybody. I'm hoping you can hear me and my screen is up okay. Is everything good on your all's end?
You're all
good deal. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate the other presenters and being able to join part of the program today. My name is Happy Fox with Alliance Autogas. I cover mainly Tennessee and North Carolina and some other regions as well in regards to autogas programs. If you notice on this slide here, this gives you a little bit of a foundation of who we are. Alliance Autogas was founded in 2009, specifically for the purpose of providing all the services needed for someone to operate a propane autogas program for their fleet. We help with the vehicle review and conversions. We help with the fueling and the infrastructure needed for that. We also provide the maintenance on that equipment. I'll go into that a little bit later. And then we also provide support and training from the beginning throughout your program. So we want to provide any of the services and all the services that you might need to operate a successful autogas program. The key benefits are going to be similar to what the other presenters have said. Our fuel cost is going to be cheaper, about 30 or 35% cheaper than gas per gallon. Our emissions are going to be lower. And then we're going to be able to provide a secure, stable fuel supply for you in the midst of a disruption in the fuel lines or power outages, etc. So our systems, to give you a little bit of a backdrop about them, our systems are all EPA certified. They're developed mainly in our R&D center in Asheville, North Carolina. An open invitation if anybody would ever like to visit us here, you're more than welcome. We go through the testing process, get them all EPA certified. We adjust the tank for whatever needs to be done on the vehicle, the filler valve, the computer, and the other components under the hood. All the original components are going to stay in place. So the vehicle is going to start on gasoline, and when it gets to operating temperature, it's automatically going to switch over to being powered by propane. And that's where you get the benefits of the fuel savings, and you get the benefits of the reduction in emissions. We offer a 5-year, 100,000-mile warranty on new vehicles that are converted to the program, and we work to provide any kind of services and support for maintenance on your program once it gets up and running as well. We go a wide variety of fleets that we convert from Ford SUV Escape to the Explorer. We do a lot of Ford vans. We do the E-Series. We do the F series all the way up to the 750, which is a picture of one of our bobtails in the lower right corner there. We do a lot of work with public and private transportation, E-Series, bus cutaways, up to trolleys. We do a fair amount of work with law enforcement as well. We have different platforms for them. And then we also have packages to where we help service and delivery companies. Maybe it's a street sweeper. It could be a package delivery company. It could be a public works department. Another area that might be would be a medical supply company as well. So depending on what area you're needing help with, we adapt the program to want to help you out with your program and your fleet. We do a full range of Ford vehicles. We also do a Dodge Charger, Durango, ProMaster vans, some of their trucks. We do vans and trucks with Chevrolet as well. One of the other unique vehicles that we convert is an Isuzu Cabover. It's a 6.6 engine, and we do a lot of those for package delivery, and we do a fair bit of those for landscapers as well. Those are the open beds on the back where they can load and unload their equipment on the back pretty easily. So that kind of gives you a wide variety of the different types of fleets that we convert with. Again, we all want to be good stewards. We all want to make a good impact. As with the natural gas programs mentioned earlier and renewable natural gas, we offer another option on the propane side. We want to help you save money on your fuel costs. We also want to help you reduce your emissions. This is just a brief chart here that's just showing the emissions reduction from gas in the gray cloud to the blue cloud being propane. We're also working with renewable propane as well. That has hit the market in a couple of areas, and we're expanding that and working on our network to expand that all the time. Its carbon intensity and its emissions are extremely lower, as not quite as low as a negative, but it gets way down there to where it is a great reduction in emissions for a renewable propane product as well. On refueling, we work with you to help out whatever is the best program for your fleet. mini fleets want an on-site refueling location, we're able to provide that for them there. We provide the amount of tanks, fuel, dispenser, and I'll go through those components in a minute. We also have, and particularly in East Tennessee, we have a number of sites from Knoxville East that are shared sites to where more than one refueling is filling up there. Maybe they didn't have room on their site, or they possibly just said, you know what, this is a better central location for our fleet to refuel. So we work with the fleets to be able to refuel what's best for your program. We also have options at our branches and other facilities should that need be the case. On the refueling side, we're going to be pretty simple and pretty easy. As a general rule, as a provider, we're going to provide, as you see in the lower left corner of the picture here, we provide a dispenser and a tank. That's a 1,000-gallon tank. It's going to hold 800 gallons of propane product. We are going to provide that equipment at no charge to the customer. We do ask for the customer to pay for the electrical connections and for the safety protection that needs to be around that refueling site. But with that being said, we take over and are responsible for all the maintenance, the upkeep, the inspection, the permitting, and whatever needs to be done for that refueling site. So that takes a lot of the burden off of you and just makes it an easy one call. In the lower middle part of this picture, you'll see a little card reader there. We do have a card reader dispenser that is predominantly used the most. That dispenser will give you the ability to check your fuel reports online. It's a data management program. And it allows us, just like our credit card program, to have multiple fleets refuel at the same location. There's three probably big game changers for in the propane industry. One of them has been the quick connect nozzle, which you see right in the middle of the picture there. No gloves, no eye protections needed. It is a very safe and secure way to refuel. If the nozzle is connected properly, it's going to just be able to allow you to disperse fuel. If it is not connected properly or not connected, it is not going to allow propane to be dispersed. So it is a really cool and a safe feature. One of the good game changers for us in the propane industry. The other big game changer for us has been propane powered school buses. This area has just really grown and it continues to grow, which is really a neat program. Reduction of emissions helps everybody, particularly the students and those at the schools and driving the buses. It is also quieter. But one of the other things, not only is it a lower fuel cost, it is a lower maintenance cost. No DEF and any of that other extra service work is required for propane powered school buses. So it has not only lowered that cost, it has significantly reduced that maintenance time as well, which is a factor. One of the key components is if your shop is set up to be able to work on gasoline and diesel engines, diesel products, it is automatic. It is also set up to be able to work on propane powered vehicles. There are a couple of safety checks and regulations, safety procedures you want to follow. But if your shop is equipped for propane or for gas and diesel, it is going to be equipped for propane as well. This is going to be a few listings of people that referrals. If you need referrals in your area or with the type of fleet you have, we're more than welcome to provide those to you. And then the last component is renewable propane is a growing market, just like renewable natural gas in a simpler vein. You have traditional propane and you have renewable propane. So we're looking forward and excited about the opportunities that we're being able to share with people with renewable propane. My name is Happy Fox, and thank you all for joining us today, and thanks for allowing me to be a presenter. If I can be of any help, I'll look forward to answering any questions later or in the future. Thanks again.
Great, thank you, Happy. Our next speaker is going to be Mr. Jay Price. He is from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, who is actually one of the newest users of biodiesel here in the state of Tennessee. And so he will be speaking on some of the initiatives that the university has been taking on in recent times. So here, I will make you presenter, and you should be good to go whenever you're ready, Jay.
Excellent, thank you. I don't know if folks can see my screen or not.
You're all set.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody's appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Did I lose the screen? I lost it for me. I'm sorry. Where did
We can still see it.
Can you really? Okay, that's interesting because I can't. Sorry. Give me just 1 second. I am new to this platform for sure. Any guidance? Because all I see is myself right now, which I am not excited to see.
Maybe if I went ahead and turned off your camera.
That might help. Okay, good. Can people still see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. And you don't have to look at me, which is even better. Excellent. So again, thanks everyone for your the opportunity to speak to you. So I'm taking a very different approach. As Mark mentioned, I'm a user of biodiesel. I'm not in the market of selling this product or any services. And we're very new to this as well. I'm kind of pinch hitting for somebody else that was going to present. So, but I'm excited to talk to you all and share some of our successes. So I'm in the Office of Sustainability at the University of Tennessee. We're in the Facility Services Department, and my name is Jay Price, as was mentioned. And I'm coming at it from a sustainability lens. Some of the goals that we have at the university, by 2030, we want to reduce our fuel consumption by 10%, and as well as increase our by 10% or to 10% rather, the use of electric vehicles or alternative fuel vehicles. As you can see on the right side of the slide there, the part we're really targeting is the direct transportation, which presents 2% of our emissions, carbon emissions on campus, and other on-campus stationary sources, another 2%. So relatively speaking, it's a small portion of our emissions profile on campus, but it's still an important piece. And this is just scope 1 and scope 2 emissions. So this is obviously not counting commuting to and from campus, which is a different category and not something that we're directly able to control from our operations standpoint. So that's really kind of to put a context to this. So some of the initiatives we are working on, currently 3% of our fleet is electric or hybrid. We have 27 electric vehicle charging stations on campus. We have a couple of electric autonomous mowers. So those are one of my favorite things on campus, but they're the little like automated mowers that go around and do their thing as a robot, and then they dock at night. They're all electric, and ours dock into a solar powered charging station, which is pretty neat. But again, there's just 2, and we would need about 50 or 60 more of those to cover all of campus. So we're just barely exploring that opportunity. Whoops, a couple more things. So we've worked on right sizing of vehicles. So taking 1-ton dump trucks and converting them to, or actually selling them and getting smaller dump trucks that are just 2-passenger little tiny trucks. We've done some electric with a club car. We have a GPS system on all vehicles that tracks idling. And the last one is what I'm going to talk about is biodiesel for all of our recycling and composting trucks and equipment. So how did we get there? This is all within the last year. We had an old 500-gallon diesel tank that wasn't being used. We had that professionally cleaned. We have a contract with Rogers Petroleum to provide us with diesel on campus, and they have soy-based biodiesel that we were able to purchase in any percentage of biodiesel that we want. As you can see, we started small, very low, with a B5 on the first 2 fill-ups and B10 on the 2 most recent fill-ups. We're about ready to get our 5th fill-up that will be a B15, and then we'll move up to a B20. So my maintenance person is very concerned about this move, so we've gone very slow, but so far so good. Everything's gone really well. We've got a filter on the tank itself, And we have filters, fuel filters on all of the equipment and vehicles that get monitored and changed regularly as well, because biodiesel is a solvent, so it cleans your tanks for you, whether you want it to or not. So that's why we cleaned the biodiesel tank up front. And on some of our older equipment, they probably pretty desperately need that fuel tank cleaning. So we're getting that for free as part of the process and just changing a few extra fuel filters. So we see it as a win. And I don't have some of those numbers that other presenters have shown on what the greenhouse gas and other emissions reductions come with biodiesel. But that's really one of the primary reasons why we're going for that. And I'm in sustainability and recycling, and we want it to be good stewards of resources as well. So here's a few pictures of the vehicles that we're using. So our two primary recycling collection trucks, the one on the left is a Class 6 F-150 or F650 rather. That's a 2006 model year. We acquired it in 2005. So it's been on the road for a very long time, and it's doing really well with the biodiesel. The one on the right is a Class 8, 52,000 pound GVWR. It's a Freightliner truck. And it has also, it's a model year 2011. So it's got a brand new paint job, so it looks great, but it is an older truck. And they're both doing really well on the fuel, and we've had zero issues with those two trucks. At our composting facility, we've got these three primary work machines. The one on the far left is a model year 2022. It's a brand new piece of equipment, a John Deere excavator. And the warranty on that allows us to go up to a B20. So that's where we will probably end up stopping, and maybe until the warranty expires, and then we may move up beyond a B20 beyond that. So right now, a maximum of 20% biodiesel. The middle is I want to say it's a 2009 Bobcat S300 little skid steer. That's one of the big work machines that we've got out there, and it's doing really well also. And on the far right is a 2010 New Holland backhoe. It's probably used a lot less than the other two pieces of equipment out there, but it's had no problems as well. So all three pieces of equipment are working perfectly with the biodiesel so far. We also have some stationary equipment. So, on the left is our screener. It's hopefully going to be replaced very soon. It's very small and relatively old for that size of a piece of equipment. So it's 2014. It's got a little tiny Cat's diesel engine on it. And even though it says not to run biodiesel in it, specifically right on the machine itself, we've been doing it quite successfully with no problem. So again, we're at the lower level, but it's got fuel filters as well. So we change those as needed. And on the right, our compost facility does not have, we're not connected to the grid. So we run a generator to run a power for our office. And that generator has been running on biodiesel since we started as well. Again, we've had zero issues with any of the equipment so far. So what do we hope to do in the future? We are acquiring a new compost collection truck. We currently run a Dodge 2500, so 3/4 ton pickup truck that's on gas. It's at the end of its useful life, so we're replacing that with a bigger truck, a Class 6 truck that will be diesel, and we hope to run that on biodiesel as well. And eventually all heavy equipment and trucks on campus. Recycling and composting is a teeny part of what we do at the University of Tennessee. So we're hoping to move into other areas as well. We have one on-road tractor on campus and one big bus that runs on diesel. So those are some other potential pieces of equipment and vehicles that we could do. And one of the other goals that we're looking at is to try to diversify our fleet. So instead of everything running on gas, and if there's a gas shortage or prices go up or there's a fuel issue getting fuel to us, having diesel, biodiesel, other things like that to diversify that fleet can help, as well as for emergency trucks. A lot of snow removal and things like that. You're kind of stuck. Whoops, I keep pushing the button, sorry. And we also have 120,000 gallons of backup fuel. It's a diesel fuel for our steam plant. So a big potential opportunity there to run biodiesel in our backup equipment. And as pictured there on the right, one of our emergency generators on campus, we have dozens of those that power our buildings in emergency situations when the power goes out. Also a big opportunity to look at for the future. So with that, I'll kick it over to the next person. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Jay. So with that, we will turn over to our last but certainly not least presenter today, Mr. Robert Blumenfeld from Danar, who will talk to us about some opportunities in the all-electric space. Robert, I have made you the presenter, so please take it away whenever you're ready. Oh, Robert, you might have to unmute yourself.
There we go. Did that work?
There we go.
Ah, there we go. Thanks. I hit it too many times. Sorry about that, everybody. I am going to, let's see if this all works. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So again, I'm Robert Blumenfeld with Danar, and I am also pinch hitting for someone today. I'm actually the sales manager in California. Please don't hold that against me. The East Coast and the Tennessee rep, Mike Meyer, he had another engagement, so I'm gonna fill in for him here. I've done a lot of these before. And we represent Danar. We're a little bit different than everybody that was on the call, and some people, it was really fascinating to hear about everything. Some of you, we could talk about some partnerships later. We make the Danar MPS, mobile power station. It's what you're looking at on the screen right there. That's in its native form, just covered, and I'll get into everything it can do, of course, but it is basically an all-electric, heavy-duty work equipment vehicle. And I know that's a mouthful and it does a lot of different things, but it is a big battery on wheels that can also be a heavy duty work equipment vehicle. So here's the idea that Gary Danar came up with 11 years ago. We've been in business 11 years. This is a company owned by Gary Danar. It's out of Muncie, Indiana. He was about 5 years in R&D and then got involved with the DoD and went commercial about 4 or 5 years ago, totally commercial. We're on our 4th generation. This is a heavy duty work equipment vehicle that is in the field. And this is its idea right here. So basically, this is the evolution of work equipment, not just from zero emissions. Obviously, as an all battery powered work equipment vehicle, it is zero emissions and all the benefits that comes from that. But it is also what you're seeing here, which is it's a platform that can be many different vehicles depending on what you need. You can change out anything you want. It powers all manufacturers' attachments. So that's the idea. And actually, that was Gary Danar's first idea. It was not to go electric. Electric was the second. His first idea is what you're seeing on the screen. He saw fleets and fleets of single-use machines sitting and waiting for their time to work, sitting 4 months, 7 months until I need a backhoe, waiting until I needed a scraper, waiting until I needed a snowplow for the snow to come. What the MPS, the mobile power station is, it's a heavy-duty, all-electric work vehicle that can be many different things at one time. So here's a little bit of its specs. It can take all 250 standard attachments, and that's all quick release, and I'll show you a little bit of that later. And you can ask a little more questions about it. It can be, it starts at 250 kWh, so it's quite a big machine. I know a lot of people in the industry now are talking about some of these proof of concept electric vehicles that are coming out that are 90 kW. This is 250 kW up to 500 kW. So it is designed to do work all day long. Here's a little bit of what it looks like once it's got its attachments on. Again, it can take all 250 standard attachments by Caterpillar, by John Deere. So the idea is you take this platform, all electric, zero emissions, and you make it not just one vehicle, but as a fleet, you can make it replace 7, 8, 9 vehicles. When you're done as a bucket, you put on a forklift. When you're done with the forklift, you put on an excavator. When you're done with the excavator, you can put on something else. The decks are modifiable too. You can obviously put a full driving cab on the front of it, as you see in that upper right-hand corner, but it also comes standard remote control, as you might see in that lower right corner right there. The entire machine can be operated by remote control as well. It's an Xbox remote control, 1 mile line of sight. The power of that remote control is whether you have a cab or not. If you don't, obviously, it's the whole way you operate the machine. Zero emissions machine doing work from an operator who can stand up to a mile away doing work. But also, even if you have the cab, that operator can jump out to change attachments by themselves. They can jump out if there's a risky situation. If they want to look at their surroundings, they can walk around the machine entirely and use it that way. So that's also one of its big benefits. The other thing that this does, now we're talking about the mobile power station, we're talking about zero emissions work vehicle, something that could work all day in the field, on farms, at cities and counties as maintenance vehicles. We've done work with airports, with the military. We have a lot of military machines out there now. It also, along with doing zero emissions work, it can also export its power. You're looking at its panel right now, and it's been modified many times. There's actually a more modern version of this that has different ones, but it has 110, 220, hydraulics out the back and front, as well as on the side. So this machine also can become your mobile power source. Along with doing work, you can roll this out to power auxiliary needs in the field. So this MPS can then, you can plug anything into it. You can plug hydraulics into it that it can tow. It has the option, as you can see in the final bullet point, of 43 phase power. That is an option, but it can, that is bi-directional. So that means it could power a pump or any piece of target equipment that is 43 phase. It can also charge that way. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is a big deal, because if you need to buy a fleet of these, but your infrastructure is not ready, but you've got 43 phase on site, you can fill this thing up, even a 500 kW version, you could fill this up in a couple hours with 43 phase. So that's a big benefit as well. Zero emissions, multi-use platform. It can export its power, and then it's also a platform for autonomy, and we can talk about that later as well. It's autonomous, semi-autonomous, and autonomous now. The screen you're seeing now is the other export capability that it has. All Danner MPS machines, mobile power stations, come with a level 2 juice box charger on it, so it can charge your other EVs. So again, the concept that this could do work all day and or be a mobile power source is in all phases. It isn't just a mobile power source that you could plug into. It's also a mobile power source that can charge your other EV equipment, your work equipment, your fleet equipment, even your transport equipment. So the beauty of this is, again, if there's outages in the field, if there's power outages, if it's a natural disaster, or just day to day, you could roll this MPS out to charge your target EVs where they are parked. It can extend your charging, it can extend your solar, it can become a mobile solar power source for you, because you fill these things up under solar and then you roll them out in the field. So again, it can do 110, 220, optional 43 phase, but it can also do EV charging as well for some of these other EVs that you're getting and that fleet managers are starting to get stacked up on their thing without the EV charging infrastructure. This is a big part of it too. We know that the MPS is a new concept, even though it's been 10, 11 years in the market, 5 years, as I said, 4 or 5 years, we're going on 5 years now, commercial, but it is not new components. Everything that we use in the MPS is what you know. Parker hydraulics, BMW i3 batteries, it uses Dana axles. So It's something that is known in the field, that is proven in the market, and it's something that your mechanics can work on, your engineers can work on as well. That's a big benefit of the MPS as well. You're getting a new concept that your mechanics will know the components immediately. There's no diesel motor in there, so it's just hydraulics and batteries, but it's known hydraulics, known batteries, and known other entities too. This is obviously a concept screen, but this is the idea that you obviously can charge this with a level 1 station, you can charge it on a level 2, you charge it on a DC fast charger, but you can also charge MPSs with solar. Obviously, the solar would have to be a lot larger than this, but this is the idea that you can monetize your solar, you can mobilize your solar, and you can turn it into work, you can turn it into auxiliary power. And this is just emphasizing the Xbox remote control. We always joke, as you'll see that picture on the right-hand side, that any 12-year-olds and nowadays 8-year-olds can run this thing better than anyone. But even though it's a lot of fun and it's funny to have an Xbox controller, and it's definitely the highlight of all my demos is when everybody gets to drive this thing with a remote control and run it around their facility, there is real value here in that remote control, that line of sight. If you've got dangerous work, if you've got hazardous work, remember those decks can be modified with tanks for spraying. Anything you need to do can be done remotely with the operator at a safe distance behind the vehicle, in front of the vehicle, wherever they need to be, and they can operate it entirely. And again, there's also follow me operations. This is a little bit of an old slide. Obviously, we've got follow me, we've got partial autonomy, we've got full autonomy. So the idea that you could drive up with your truck and turn on the MPS from your truck and have it follow you to the job site is real now. The military helped us develop that, and it's a huge advantage to the MPS as well. So again, the idea is you can make this MPS anything you need it to be, including a rolling battery source. And this concept is not just utilization within what you purchase, it's also obsolescence avoidance. If you got a Danner to be a forklift, a bucket loader, and an excavator, along with mobile power, and then you no longer needed the excavator, you then can, in a couple of years, you then can just get another attachment and make it something else, migrate it to another division. So it also is a real buffer against obsolescence as well. So with that, I'll leave the screen up. You can contact me about any questions. Anybody can ask anything. Really appreciate it, everybody. This is a great forum.
Thank you so much, Robert. So that concludes our speakers for today. And I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. There was a question earlier about where this is going. The recording of this will be posted for future reference. The recording of this will be posted on the Fuels Flicks Alternative Fuels YouTube page, which is managed by Tennessee Clean Fuels. I sent a link to that YouTube page in the chat, which everyone should have received. But I'm not seeing any additional questions in the chat. So with that, we'll go ahead and wrap early. Thank you to everybody for attending. And once again, a big thanks to all of our presenters, Mike, Jess, Happy, Jay, and Robert. And so we'll go ahead and conclude this. Thank you, everyone, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you all.